What's up, guys? It's me, Tony G, coming to you once again from the basement. Trying to come up with content for everybody. It's a struggle. There's no live poker on the East Coast, but stay tuned for after the video. I do have some news about that, which could be changing very shortly. But in this video, we are going to be exploring my top 5 worst hands of 2019. A lot of you guys give me a lot of good criticism and feedback. These are what I think are my top 5 worst hands. Some of them are a cash poker and some of them are tournament poker. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get into it. All right, real quick, if you are new here, before we get into the top 5 worst hands, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you get notified of all my new vlogs. I appreciate it. It does help the channel out a lot. If you guys are returning, you know I love you. Appreciate you coming back. Let's get into it. All right, the number 1 hand is going to be at Live Hotel and Casino. It was a WPT Deep Stacks event back in June. I think June or May of last year. Might have been March or April last year. I don't really remember. It was in early part of last year. And it was the final hand of that tournament for me. I made a bad call with 9s. I was a little tilted. I hope you guys enjoy it. Here we go.
Okay, after losing a lot of chips in the last level, I now have the 9 of diamonds, the 9 of clubs. I am in the big blind. It's level 5 or 6, I can't remember. And the blinds, I think, were 300, 600. Well, they were definitely 600 because that's what my big blind is. So the middle position decides to raise it up to 6,500. I go all in, and being short stacked with about 13 or 14 big blinds, and so does the under the gun. We get a quick count, and everybody else folds, and we're heads up now, and we flip our cards after he gets the count, and it's aces versus my 9s, and the board runs out the king of diamonds, the queen of hearts, the 7 of spades, the 7 of diamonds, and the 10 of hearts, and we do not improve, and we are out of the tournament.
All right, hand number 2 is going to be Atlantic City. It was a nightly tournament at Bally's. It was a $65 buy-in. I had jacks. I was at the final table. Instead of raising big with jacks, I just limped in. I know. I never should limp in, especially when I'm in position. Here we go.
Okay, about 1 level later, I have the jack of diamonds and the jack of clubs in the cutoff, I believe. Blinds are 30, 60K at this point. The guy to my right just calls the 60, gets around to me. I decide to cut out some chips and go ahead and call the 60 myself. The small blind is tanking a good bit, ultimately decides to call the 60. And I believe we are 3 or 4 ways to the flop. And the flop comes out the 10 of spades, the queen of spades, and the 7 of hearts. And it checks all the way around to the turn again. And the turn is the 9 of hearts. It checks over to the small blind, and the small blind decides to cut out about 70K in chips. Everyone else folds after he bets. I do decide to call, and we're heads up to the river now, which is the 4 of diamonds, which obviously does not help me at all. He decides to throw out another bet of 70, and I decide to go ahead and call, thinking that I'm good with my jacks, and I was not good. He winds up showing me a queen, and we lose that pot.
All right, so the third hand is going to be the best hand of poker. I have aces, It's at the Andrew Nemi and Brad Owen meetup game back in December at Live Hotel and Casino. And what do you say? Sometimes it's just hard to let go of aces. Here we go.
All right, a couple hands later, I wake up with the best hand in the poker world. That is pocket aces. The ace of clubs, the ace of hearts. I am under the gun +1. It checks to me. I raise it to 20. There are a couple folds, and I get 2 callers, so we are 3 ways to the flop. Comes out the 7 of hearts, the queen of spades, and the 6 of spades. It does check to the turn. The turn is the ace of spades, giving me a set of aces. The big blind puts out a small bet of $25. I decide to just call, which I know I probably should have re-raised over the 25, but I decide to just call. The other guy folds, and it's just the big blind and I heads up now to the river, which is the 3 of spades. The big blind puts out a bet of 100. My gut tells me do not call, but I decide to call with a set, and I get the bad news. He flips over the flush. King of spades.
Okay, hand number 4. This is going to be at the World Series of Poker. It was a deep stack event, nightly deep stack event at the Rio back in June of 2019 when I was there. I had ace queen, wound up being ace queen, and I only had 1 pair versus a full house. What can you do?
End of level 2 now, and I have ace of spades, queen of hearts in the big blind. We get a couple callers on the $200 big blind. It gets around to me, and I decide to raise it up to 800. Thought about going 1600, but decided to go with 800. We have 1 or 2 callers and a couple folds, and I believe we are now 3 ways to the flop. The flop comes out the 7 of clubs, the 8 of hearts, and the ace of clubs. With an ace in my hand, I decide to go ahead and bet 1100. The gentleman to my left calls, the lady across from me folds, and the guy in the cutoff decides to bet 3,500, putting me all in, which I do go all in with 3,100 effective. And the guy to my left also calls. We all flip over, and the guy to my left has the 7 of hearts and the 8 of spades. I don't remember what the guy in the cutoff had, but we're up against 2 pair already, and the board runs out 4 of spades and the 8 of hearts, and we are out of the tournament, and we go home empty-handed.
Okay, for the 5th and final hand, I have queens. During that same trip to Las Vegas last June, it was for the Trooper meetup game. Guys like Jamin Burton, Old Man Coffee were there. Of course, the Trooper was there. And a guy just sat down. I didn't really get to get a good read on him or see how he was playing. Flush versus flush. Need I say more? Here we go.
Okay, what would be my final hand of the afternoon at Trooper Thursday? I have queen of hearts, queen of diamonds, and I am in the big blind. This is one of the best hands you can possibly have in poker, queens. So the bet now is $8. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere. I call the 8. Probably should have raised to 16, but that's a discussion for another day. We have 2 or 3 to the flop. The flop is king of hearts, 5 of hearts, 8 of hearts. Obviously, I have the queen high flush draw going. So I decide to bet 10, get 1 fold, and the guy in seat 1 calls the 10, and the turn is the 6 of hearts completing my flush. So I'm really not going anywhere now. I feel confident. that I have the highest flush on the board with the king showing. I bet 20. The guy in seat 1 decides to tank and then says all in. With about 150 or so behind me, I call, and the river is the 7 of diamonds, and he has the ace of hearts. What are you going to do? I thought for sure he did not have the ace of hearts. He just sat down and didn't get a chance to see how he was playing. Better luck next time, I guess.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed those top 5 worst hands of 2019. My top 5 worst hands of 2019. Okay, so I promised you some news on live poker on the East Coast. Next Monday, June 15th, Delaware goes to phase 2. That includes table games for the casinos and 60% capacity. Currently, Delaware is at a 30 or 40% capacity and no table games. So hopefully the table games open up and there is live poker either at Delaware Park, Dover Downs, or Harrington. If that does happen, I will be making a trip to Delaware to play some poker and bring it to you guys as soon as I can. There's a rumor that Maryland is going to be going into phase 3 next Wednesday or next Friday, and that will open up the casinos also. I hope this all is true. If it is, I'll be there playing poker. I'm going to be vlogging it all. I appreciate you guys coming by. If you liked it, hit that like and subscribe button. See you guys in the next episode, hopefully from a live casino somewhere. See ya.